Evening, everyone. Today we have Mr. Bidhan Das with us as speaker. He is an alumni of 13th batch of Mumbai IIT. He has more than 20 years of experience in the packaging field, working as quality control supervisor and packaging development officer. He also worked with Imamig Limited and now he is serving as a deputy director and regional head of IIP Kolkata since 2010. So I would like to request Bidhan sir to conduct today's webinar. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Riddhi.
Yes.
Now, our today's topic is the importance of testing and significance of packaging materials. Okay, so one of the major activity of IIP is to test the packaging materials. Now, if you see in our country, there is no regulation on packaging other than one or two area. If you see that export of dangerous goods, yeah, definitely. As the United Nations norm, any packaging material which is used for carriage of dangerous goods by ship or by air has to be tested and has to use a certificate that is called DG shipping certificate or DGCA certificate, that is we call as a UN certificate. But other goods, consumer goods, FMCG and all these things, as of now in our country there is no regulation on the packaging. But yeah, there is again one regulation as per the FSSAI guideline.
Created with free version for non-commercial use.
Of India have mentioned few parameters in connection with the food packaging. Okay, so as of now, you can say that if the packaging material used for packaging of food, definitely the material has to be follow the regulation, that is FSA regulation, that is Food Safety Act, FSA. We call it as a Food Safety Act, FSA. And in case of dangerous goods export, we have to have the regulation to be followed, that is called UN certification, United Nations certification, which is called, that is the as per the United Nations norm, any packaging material carrying dangerous goods by sea or air has to be tested and it has to have some marking and certification according to that. So IIP is authorized by DG Shipping and DGCA for carrying out testing of packaging material for carriage of dangerous goods, which is called UN certification. Okay. Now, one of the major activities of IIP is to issue the UN certificates, and you know that all the laboratory of Indian packaging is accredited to NABL, that is called the
created with free version for
non-commercial as of now,
use.
The stringent standard, quality standard for testing. Any testing laboratory, the NABL is the highest standard as of now in our country. NABL basically is a certification which is done according to the ISO 17025 17025, which is called as in our country it's called National Accreditation Board of Testing and Calibration Laboratories. But normally this certification is done according to ISO 17025. Okay. Now, as you know, basically in the packaging there are three segments of industry. One is the raw material manufacturer, second is the packaging material converter, and third is the packaging industry. And I believe most of our IIP students, they are always want to get job in the user industry, but there is a enormous opportunities in the other two segments also, packaging raw material manufacturing company and packaging material converting industry also. Okay, so any industry, wherever you go,
created with free version for non-commercial use.
It has to be have some facility of testing, because unless we test, we don't know whether it is following the specification or not. Say if I ask you one question today, have you got the COVID-19? What will be the answer? Anybody has COVID-19?
It will be a very ambiguous. It will be a very ambiguous answer, because no systematic testing is in place right now. Though government is trying to create the health infrastructure.
So normally we say no, but how we can say no? Unless we test, we cannot say. So anything, any material, whenever we are using it, so it has to be according to the specification, which can be confirmed only upon the testing. Correct? So test, if we do the test only, we can say, okay, it is conforming to the specification or not. So any industry, basically, the testing is one of the important parameter, and testing we can say is a in production. Okay. So whenever any raw material is
created with free version for non-commercial use,
find the quality after testing. When the same material is used for conversion, Again, if the material is not up to the mark, then definitely after the converted products will not be good or not as per the quality. And in case of user industry also, they also has to do a lot of testing, because the shelf life and all the transport hazard of the product for transporting the goods is depending upon the quality of the packaging material. So they normally basically depend upon the user industry. Basically, they do take more test on the what is called that transport worthiness test, whether the goods will be capable of undergoing the hazards during the transportation or not. So in each segment, raw material, packaging material converter, and user, all the three segments, a lot of testing has to be done. And as a student of IIB, you must know, you should know all the tests in the different field of the industry. Okay.
Created with free version for non-commercial use.
Next slide. So, if you come to that packaging material, so basically if you see, there are only few materials which is used as a packaging material. First, very first classification is that the packaging material can be classified into two different categories as a scientific packaging material, and one is called traditional material. Means the materials which are traditionally been used in packaging, like argent pot, bamboo basket, cane basket, and all leaves and all these things. Okay, so scientifically, basically in the traditional packaging material, not much testing is been done, and there is also no testing procedure also available. Most of the companies or people are using nowadays scientific packaging material, and they have different standard for testing. Like if you see that scientific packaging materials, in the scientific packaging material, there are 4 packaging materials which are being used in packaging in all the segment of industry. The first material
Created
is paper.
With free version
Paper
for
is called one of
non-commercial
the
use.
ancient packaging material, and which is very nowadays, after this what is called the environmental law has come, now paper is a very important packaging material, and it is also very desired packaging material, because paper has a property. It is a what is called that biodegradable packaging material, and also it is recyclable. Paper has both the character. It is called biodegradable, and also it is recyclable. So paper is basically called the eco-friendly packaging material. If you want to recycle it, you can recycle n number of times. If you don't want to recycle, it can be degraded. You just throw it in the environment, and it gets degraded with the environment and mixed in the soil. Glass is the second packaging material. So there are a lot of tests available in paper. Normally, say whatever the paper is used, mostly one of the paper which is broadly used in the packaging industry is the kraft paper, which is used for all the transport packaging material, like the corrugated boxes, that fiberboard drums, and even nowadays the paper bags and all these
Created
things are
with free version
so
for
paper,
non-commercial
basically
use.
The kraft paper, if you see kraft paper, normally are tested according to the specification. For Indian standard, we have one Indian standard that is called IS 1060. There are a lot of parts: part 1, part 2, part 3, part 6, part 7, like that. So IS 1060 is basically the method. It is a standard method of testing of paper and fibrous material. So how to test and what are the different parameters, all are explained in that IS 1060. And if you want to find or cross-check the specification of paper, like kraft paper, what is the quality? So if you refer the standard, it's called IS 1397, Indian standard 1397, which talks about the specification of kraft paper. So kraft paper, what are the different qualities and how to check? All these parameters are mentioned in the standard IS 1397. So according to the 1397 standard, kraft papers are classified into 3 categories, like
Created
grade
with
1,
free
grade
version
2, and
for
grade 3,
non-commercial
which in
use.
the industry are termed as virgin, non-virgin, and
Created.
as I told, there are 2 types of metal used in packaging mostly. One is aluminum, and there is a tin plate container. In case of metal, there are very few standards available for testing. Okay, in case of say aluminum, as you know, aluminum is also a food grade material, and in case of food grade, you need the purity of aluminum is 99.9% purity. In case of another metal, that is a tin plate container. Tin plate is basically nothing but it is a iron plate coated with tin. Tin is a metal, having less corrosive. So tin is coated, and minimum coating of tin should not be less than 2.8. So 2.8 gram per meter square in one surface, and then it's a multiple of 2.8. Say In case of citrus products, then it will be 2.8 into 2, that is 5.6 in the inner side, and outside mostly it is only 2.8 coating, because outside has to fight against the environmental hazards only. Environment means it has to protect the corrosion, but inside that the product, if it is a tomato puree or it is a citrus fruit juice and all these things, then the coating weight must be more. Minimum coating in such citrus food or acidic food, it has to be 5.6 or the multiple of that. So tin plate containers, we have also Indian standard for checking that the amount of tin coating in the tin plate container, which can be, the tin will be dissolved with some acidic solution, which is made by nitric acid and another salt. So with that, tin will be washed off and then take the GSM, and the difference of weight is giving the weight of the tin coating. And in case of closed container, sometimes there is a leakage, maybe in the seaming area or in the body seam or in the end seam. When so it has to be checked, the air pressure test, that is called hydraulic pressure test or pneumatic pressure test. So air will be there inside, so minimum of 0.1 kg air will be passed inside the container. It will be hold for minimum 1 minute. There should not be any leakage from any part of the container. There is a leakage test is done for the any liquid, or in case of any metal container containing any liquid. So these are the two tests has to be done. There are more other tests like handle pull test and then drop test, and all these things are there. But in case of metals, tin, basically the tin coating is a very important parameter, because the price of the tin, again depending upon the tin plate container, is depending upon the coating of the tin. Because if tin coating is less, then the performance of the container will be not up to the mark, and also the price will be lesser. So one vital parameter for checking is the amount of tin coating in the tin plate container. And now come to the plastic. There is a nowadays a lot of chaos in the plastic industry, because of the plastic, and a lot of pollution is happening. But say plastic is such a material which we cannot basically live without plastic. Nowadays, you see in this COVID-19, all the PPE, that is personal protection equipments, are made up of plastic. No other material can provide this safety, like mask, the gloves, everything if you see. But still, plastic has a bad name, that it is creating nuisance in the ecosystem. Basically, the plastic does not have any problem. The problem with the user of the plastic, that is we human beings who are using this plastic, are creating problem with this plastic. So there are a lot of plastics. I think you know already, because your semester 2 and semester 3 has dealt with the plastics, their processing and all these things. But still, mostly the plastic which are being used in the packaging industry are, that is called polyethylene, polypropylene, polyester, polystyrene, and PVC. These are the few plastics which have commonly been used in our daily life or in packaging industry. So that has to be checked. But in case of, say, FSSAI, the Food Safety Act, which is the stringent act and only the one act for the packaging. So according to the Food Safety Act, any plastic used in contact with the food or pharmaceutical must be tested for food grade. That is the one vital test, and every company, every user, or every segment of industry, they must have a certification that this plastic material is safe in contact with the food. That is a standard we follow, that is called IS 9845, Indian Standard 9845, which was formulated in 2000. So that talks about the safety of the plastic that is in contact with the food and pharmaceuticals. So we must follow this standard, and the testing has to be done accordingly. And the global limit says that the migration test, if it will be used, the plastic what is used for packaging will be used. In case the limit of the migration value is 60 ppm, that is called 60 milligram per liter or per kg of the product. If I pack purified drinking water in a plastic bottle, that is in that time, that is shelf life is 6 months. So within this 6 months, maximum 60 milligram of plastic can be leached out from the bottle and can be mixed with the water, and that is safe in contact, or that is basically safe for consumption of the human being. That means our stomach can digest 60 milligram of plastic. Okay, so this is called the food grade test. And in case of flexible packaging or like laminate sachets and other thing, the limit is expressed in a different unit, that is called 10 milligram per decimeter square. That is in 1 decimeter square of area of the maybe the woven sack or maybe plastic pouch or plastic bag. That is 10 milligram per decimeter square. 10 milligram of plastic per decimeter square area can be leached out and mixed with the food or whatever the product is packed, and that is safe for consumption. So that is a very stringent, standard which must be followed globally. That is a US FDA also have some standard regarding this, migration, and this Indian standard is basically drawn from the US FDA and other standard only. The limit is same globally. The limit is 60 ppm, or it's called 60 milligram per liter, or in case of flexible laminates, flexible pouches, or open sac or FIBC, it is 10 milligram per decimeter square. Okay, this is for plastic. And other tests for the plastic, like say in case of whenever we make any flexible laminates, we must check the seal strength, then laminate bond strength, then the coefficient. Another parameter is that coefficient of friction, COF, which is called as coefficient of friction, because whenever this plastic material run over the machine, it is passing through the number of rollers, so it will create a backward force, which is called COF, coefficient of friction. So COF also should be optimum. Depending upon the machine speed, the COF is decided, but COF should not be above, normally for the high speed machine, it should not be above 0.17. Okay, 0.17 to maximum 0.2. Medium speed machine, it may be 0.2 for maximum, and for the lower, very low or traditional machines, it cannot be also, it should not be more than 0.4. So these are the few industry norms which are followed. So we'll come to other, like next slide is basically talking about the different application of packaging. Say packaging based on the application is classified into 3 categories: primary packaging, secondary packaging, and tertiary packaging. And the testing requirement for different packaging will be depending upon the application. So if this packaging is used for primary pack, then it is in direct contact with the food or pharmaceutical, the product, then the testing requirement is different. Say in case of secondary packaging and transport packaging, the packaging testing requirement is different. Say in case of primary packaging, any material which is in contact with the direct product, then we have to be very careful, because the product and the packaging material should be compatible. That should not be a reaction. That is, in case of plastics or metal, we must check the what is called the food grade test. In case of metal, say tin packaging, tin container. So normally what happens, tin, after the tin, there is some lacquer coating is given. Lacquer coating is nothing but it is a polymer, it's a plastic, which is basically creating a barrier between the metal and the product. So that plastics also, again, you have to check the migration test. In case of plastic containers, we have to check the migration test. And in case of aluminum, we know that only the purity will decide. If the purity of aluminum is 99.9% and above, then it becomes the food grade. In case of paper, we already know paper is not food grade. So in case of primary packaging, normally for the food and pharmaceutical, paper cannot be used as a primary packaging. So paper will be coated with some other plastics and polymer to make it suitable for primary packaging. Normally the paper is used for secondary packaging or tertiary packaging. In case of transport packaging, so we must check the few of the properties, like the what is called that puncture resistance of the corrugated box. In case of corrugated box, which is the transport packaging, so we have to check the puncture resistance. Then we have to check the bursting strength. We have to check the COB value. COB means moisture absorbency, water absorbency. So these are the parameters, because when it is used as a transport packaging, so the environment is exposed to the container. So what are the environmental hazards? So we have to check, and depending upon the uses of the packaging material, the tests will be different. So depending upon the application, maybe same material applied for different, like if plastic used for primary packaging, then we have to check the migration test. If the same plastic is used for secondary or transport packaging, then we have to check drop test. We have to check the vibration test. We have to check the puncture resistance and all these things. So depending upon the application of the material in different application, so the testing requirement will be decided. This is another one slide which is showing about the different application levels of packaging. Now again, you see that depending upon the material properties, packaging materials are classified into 3 categories: flexible, semi-rigid, and rigid. And nowadays, flexible packaging means that is the plastic-based material or paper. The packaging material which are used in flexible packaging are foldable. That means the material can be folded. And now, because of the environmental issue, the flexible packaging, a lot of developments are taking place, because our Prime Minister in I think last year, 2018, somewhere in the World Environmental Day, he has committed that the world should be plastic free by 2022. So that is a threat basically. And also the Government of India, Minister of Forest and Environment, has given a notification that the what is called that multi-layer plastics packaging, which is non-recyclable, has to be phased out by 2 years. So there is a global trend. Basically, every country is working how that flexible packaging is to be sustainable. So all the companies are working. Basically, mostly the layers which are used in the flexible packaging, basically like say paper, aluminum foil, plastic. Like in plastic, there are 3 plastics which are normally used. One is polyester, and it is polyethylene or polypropylene. So normally nowadays people are working to use the similar type of material that can be, but basically that if you use similar material like a BOPP laminate, then it can be recyclable. Like if it is a PP to PP, like or polyethylene to polyethylene laminate, then it can be recyclable. But if it is a polyester poly or aluminum foil poly, then it is non-recyclable. So people are now going to the, that trend, changing the trend that using the similar type of material so that the material can be recyclable. So, and in case of semi-rigid packaging, say the semi-rigid packaging mostly we call as a folding board cartons or even the laminated tubes and all these things. Rigid packaging normally the metal container, plastic containers, and all these things. So depending upon the uses, we will decide the different testing required. So here also we are mentioning that flexible packaging, basically the laminates and sachets. So here mostly in the flexible packaging. Nowadays, if you see almost all the goods, FMCG goods or even our food products are normally 80% of the products are being packed in the flexible packaging material. So flexible packaging, the different test parameters has to be checked. That is the one is the sealing strength, that how much seal strength I require and what is the seal strength is given by the laminates. Then the COF, coefficient of friction. Then the drop test, that whether the pouch after filling the product is dropped from a height, whether it is sustaining or not. Because normally whenever any product will be displayed in the shelf in the supermarket like Big Bazaar, Spencer or whatever it may be, so whether it is when it is kept in the shelf, so this person is checking just it got dropped from the hand. So if it dropped, so it should be withstanding the drop hazard. That is, if it is a packet of atta or packet of oil or packet of milk or anything, so if it is dropped from the shelf at a height of say 1.2 meter, so it should not be bursting. So we will check the what is called the pouch bursting strength, or even normally the film is correlated with the bursting strength by basically it is a test which is called as a dart impact test. Dart impact. Okay, these are the vital tests which has to be done. And in case of rigid packaging like glass, metal, and plastic, we will check the drop test. Then glass is normally checked for if it is a hot fill, then we have to check the thermal resistance of the glass. And then in case of metal, we will check the seam leakage or leakage from the, that is called the basically the pneumatic pressure test or hydraulic pressure test. And in case of plastic container, we will check the migration test, we will check the drop test, we will the closure leakage test. Even in the glass also you have to check the closure leakage, because the there may be leakage through the closure. So how to check the closure leakage test? The filled containers, either glass or plastic, will be kept inverted position, that is cap in the bottom and the bottom will be in the top position, and it will be kept on a white tissue paper with a colored liquid normally, because when it will be done, the water will be filled with some colored liquid mixed with that and kept on the inverted position for 24 hours. Certain temperature will be there inside the incubation chamber, so that after 24 hours you have to check there is no leakage through the cap. It is one of the vital parameters for validation of the packaging material for packaging like glass and metal plastic for leakage test. Then semi-rigid packaging, the duplex board cartons, laminated tubes, that also will be checked for in case of duplex board, we will check the holding endurance test, we will check the stiffness, and then also definitely we check the what is called the COP value, water resistant. Or laminated tubes, basically we have to check the leakage test, because it is sealed when there may be leakage. So leakage test, and also for the laminated tubes we have to check the what is called the pressure test, pneumatic pressure test, because the seam or the body seam should not be leaking after the product is being filled. Okay, now depending upon the application, as I told, the application of packaging, the testing for different packaging material is being decided. Now when you test, how to test, what are the method? So there are different standards. So any test for the particular company, we must adopt any of the standards. So there are different standards normally we follow. There is an international standard which is called, all of you know might be that there is a called BIS. BIS means that is called Bureau of Indian Standard. It is our national standard which is represented by IS. International standard means internationally, so whatever the standards available, we follow such maximum standards for the packaging industry. We follow the ASTM standard, that is called American Society for Testing of Materials. Then PS means British standard. There are also few tests which we can follow as a JIS, that is Japan standard. There is also few standard available from German, that is called DIN. DIN. DIN standard is German standard. Okay, so international standard, basically in case of paper, there is some international standard which is called as a TAPI. Technical Association of Pulp and Paper Industry, TAPPI. TAPI is basically Technical Association for Pulp and Paper Industries, which basically most of the paper testing are done according to the TAPI. Most of the plastics and other packaging material international standard mostly we follow is ASTM, or very little standards are also available, that British standard. And most of the Indian standard are also adopted from the another international standard is ISO, which is not mentioned here. ISO means International Organization for Standardization, ISO standard. Like as I told you, the NABL is basically following the ISO 17025. There is one more standard also called international ISTA, International Safe Transport Association. A lot of the packaging materials which are exported, people follow the ISTA standard, International Air Transport Authority. That is a for air transit. What the different method? Basically, there is a very rigid, or what is called the very tough testing for drop, compression, inclined impact, and vibration testing. It is as per the ISTA standard people are doing. And in India, we follow normally the BIS, that is called Bureau of Indian Standard. The standard is represented by IS. IS means Indian standard, then followed by the number. So every standard come up with the first the abbreviation and then the number. Some serial number is there, 3-digit, 4-digit, or 5-digit numbers are there. Then there is also some industry standard. Industry standard means which are the industry association also forming some standard. Like in Mumbai, if you see, there is an organization called WICMA, Western India Corrugated Box Manufacturer Association. They also have some standard formulated for the quality of the corrugated box. Then FEBCO also for the Federation of Fiberboard Containers Manufacturing, like corrugated box. Then there is a various standard which are industry standard also. Like if you see Hindustan Unilever, a lot of company people are doing internship with HUL. So HUL has their own standard. They don't follow the IS or ASTM or BS. They follow their own standard, which is basically derived from any of the IS, BS, or Indian standard. So they have formulated their own standard. Mostly the company standards are very stringent, because if you see the international standard like ISO, international standard, which is basically ISO standard, they are formulating the keeping in mind that every country. So mostly the international standards are little bit diluted, because every country the climatic condition may not be same, the quality of the raw material might not be same. So they give a broad standardization. But whenever the national standards are made, they make slightly more specific than the ISO. Then industry standard also like that, and the more stringent standard is the company standard. Each and every company, they have some special standard, like HUL, ITC, and most of the company now in India, they have their own, like Britannia, Coca-Cola, everybody, they have their own standard. So this is called company standards. Now when you do the testing, so definitely we must mention the procedure or the standard according to which standard the test has to be conducted, because each method or according to each standard, the results might be some little bit of difference is there. So which standard has to be followed? This is one of the vital parameters while we test. So definitely we must mention the standard after or before we test. We must know the standard according to which the test will be conducted. Okay. Now, basically the testing is to be done basically to fulfill the requirement of packaging. Now these are the the bullet points which is mentioned here. You know that because the semester 1 we teach what is the basic function of packaging. So basically why you are doing the testing? Testing has been done because to fulfill the requirement. That is, the first basic function of packaging is to contain. So packaging material will contain. Now then second is the protection from the different hazards. Hazards means there are two types of hazards, like the climatic hazards and the mechanical hazards. So packaging material must provide protection to the product from the different hazards. Normally the primary packaging must provide protection to the product from the climatic hazards. So in case of climatic hazard, now you see that there is a moisture. So if I'm going to pack a product like say coffee powder, so it is highly susceptible to the moisture. That is, it is got a huge threat from the moisture, environmental moisture. So if I am packing a coffee powder, then definitely my primary packaging must be tested for the moisture barrier, that is called WVTR, all of you have learned this in the semester 1, that WVTR. What is WVTR? Water vapor transmission rate, or it may be also termed as moisture vapor transmission rate. So if I am going to pack some product which is going to spoil with the help of moisture, like milk powder, coffee powder, or say potato chips, or any powdery product which moisture content is very low, then the first parameter I must check, that is the water vapor transmission rate of the material. Like say if you say coffee normally packed with metal container. Previously coffee was packed in metal container, and that was the reason coffee was coffee was more costly. That is the reason coffee was not very familiar in the Indian continent, because the coffee pack was costly, because there was no cheap packaging. It was packed only in the glass bottle or in the metal container, which is costly. So coffee was not very familiar in our country. But nowadays, after the flexible packaging become available for the coffee packaging, like the multi-layer packaging, like if you see polyester, aluminum foil, poly, or polyester metals poly structure has come, then the coffee also started in the small pouches, 1 rupee or 2 rupee sachet has come, and then coffee become very familiar. Earlier coffee was not very familiar because of this problem, because other than metal and glass, no other material was having the moisture barrier. So nowadays moisture barrier is provided by the flexible packaging material also. As a result, now the flexible packaging is coming for the coffee. So whenever any product is packed for the primary packaging, we must check the climatic hazards. So mostly climatic hazards which are must be protected by a primary packaging is the moisture barrierness. Then there is a oxygen barrier or gas. Normally in the atmospheric gas, there are few gases which are available in the atmosphere, like oxygen, hydrogen, CO2, then nitrogen and all these gases. But mostly among all these gases, oxygen is very critical, because oxygen is such a gas which we require. Every human being, every living creature requires the oxygen, but it is not required by our food product or pharmaceutical, because the product is going to get spoiled with the help of oxygen. So it is a situation like that in atmosphere or in the environment. Both has to be present. We also have to be present. Our food and pharmaceutical also has to be present. But we need oxygen, and our product does not require oxygen. So we must provide a barrier, that is the packaging material. The packaging material which is going to be packed for this type of product, if such quality is required, that material will not have the permeation of oxygen. That is oxygen barrier we require, which is measured in the instrumental method, which is called as the OTR. All of you know the term OTR, that is called oxygen transmission rate, which is measured, and basically that is the international standard also there. It's the ASTM, and we follow that ASTM standard. And for the WBT also we follow the ASTM standard 1249, and which is basically there is an instrument called MOCON. All of you know. But before the MOCON came, we must we was having our Indian standard, which is called IS 1060. They have also specified that how to check the moisture barrier. So it was a very lengthy procedure, that you fill the container, aluminum container, with some silica gel or some moisture absorbency material, and then cover the lid with the plastic or the packaging material which is going to be tested. Then we keep this assembly inside a humidity chamber with 38 degrees temperature, 90% relative humidity, and after day by day keeping and then taking the reading, that how much of weight gain has been taken place, and then after that we have to do the test. But nowadays the very sophisticated instrument has come with the MOCON. We do test, and within say 48 hours the result will be coming. Otherwise, in the traditional way, when you was doing with the weighing balance and the humidity chamber, it took 15 days, 20 days, even 1 month to get the result, because the reading was not easily detectable. Now oxygen barrier we checked, and it is basically expressed in terms of cc per meter square per day, whereas the moisture barrier is measured in terms of gram per meter square per day. So these are the two vital parameters for any of the primary packaging material which is in contact with the food and pharmaceutical. Then if some material also there is a requirement of barrier to light, then we have to check whether the transparency of the material. There is a optical what is called the photospectrometer available, by which we can check the light barrierness. Then there is a barrier that is called some climatic hazard, like heat and cold, different condition. Like if some product, like say fresh fruits and vegetables, it has to be prevented from heat, that is it is supplied in the cold chain. In case of some fruits and vegetables, if it's kept in the very cold temperature, there is a not possible. Like mango, if you keep in the fridge, it is not possible, because it is temperature for storing the mangoes, ripened mangoes is basically 16-17 degrees. We have to keep, so depending upon the coldness, some product also getting spoiled. And one of the microbial content always there in the environment. As we know nowadays, there is a COVID-19 has spread out all over the globe, and this microbial, how to prevent? So to prevent the microbial, we need the packaging material should be non-permeable, and also there should not be no leakage to the closure. That is, we use a term that is called all the packaging material must be hermetically sealed. That is, through the sealing, no gas will go inside, and no gas will come inside to outside. That is called hermetic seal is required. Okay, so these are the terminology which I use. Basically, the light barrier, we have to check the transparency or edge. For gas barrier and moisture barrier, we have to check the WBTR, OTR, and the GTR means called gas transmission rate. MBTR means moisture vapor transmission rate. WBTR means water vapor transmission rate. These are the terminology used. Now, in case of, say, when we use the packaging material as a transport packaging, so if it is a transport packaging or secondary packaging, now these are the hazards the packaging has to provide protection to the product. In case of, say, corrugated box is normally used as a transport packaging or secondary packaging material. So when it is used as a transport packaging, what are the hazards the box has to undergo or the product has to undergo? So that packaging has to provide protection to the product from, say, drop, vibration, compression, stack load, rolling, and all these hazards. So we must check before that consignment sent to the different places destination. We must check the drop test of the box. That is, feel the equivalent material inside the box and do the drop test according to our Indian standard IS 7. They will, that vibration, it has to be, because normally in case of liquid or other, secondary, the box is used as a transport packaging. So inside pack, due to vibration, maybe there is a leakage or damages. So we must check the vibration test, and then compression basically is checked for the warehousing and for the supply chain. For the supply chain, when the materials are loaded in the lorry or even when stacked in the warehouse, so the bottom boxes getting always the compression of the topmost boxes. So how much of load is exposed to the bottom box? Normally, whenever you see any corrugated box, there is a picture. They write in a stack 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 like that. There is a photograph in the corrugated boxes. They mention that how many boxes to be stacked. So this is depending upon the compression strength of the boxes. And even I know in the semester 2 we have done the corrugated boxes. You have checked the Mackey's formula. Mackey's formula for calculation of the compression strength, theoretical compression strength of the box. That is how many boxes I am going to keep. Say if the corrugated box is having a compression strength of 300 kgs, that is 1/3 of the compression strength. That is only 100 kg. The boxes can be stacked. That is, if the compression strength of the empty box is 300 kg, that is, I can design this box to be stacked for only 100 kg. That is because the safety factor is 3 in case of corrugated boxes. So whatever the maximum force, 1/3 of that can be exposed. That is, if I use, say, a corrugated boxes, so if the gross weight of the box is 10 kg, so I can keep in one stack maximum 11 boxes. That is 10 boxes. Each box is of the corrugated bag in corrugated boxes, or even in the plastic drum or metal drum, we do the stack load stick. Stack load means basically, as per the Indian standard 7028 standard, we follow the norms. They have mentioned that maximum 3 meter height. So in case of 3 meter height, how many drums or how many boxes you can stack? Calculate the height. So depending upon that, then you calculate how many boxes can be stacked. Depending upon, you calculate the stack load. Stack load means, so in a 3 meter height, how many boxes can be stacked? If one box or one drum is having, say, weight of 200 kg, it's a metal drum or plastic drum. So plastic drum height is almost how much? 1.5 meter. So 1.5 meter into 1.5 means 1.3 meter. So 3 meter only is two drums can be stacked. So I will keep 1 plus 1. That is, one drum is having liquid, say 200 liter. So 200 kg. So 200 kg will be kept on the drum and will be kept for, say, for plastic drum. The stack load test is for 28 days. 28 days I have to keep this 200 kg weight on the plastic drum. empty drum, and then after 24 days I have to check whether the drum is vertically there, or it has stack is fallen, or any buckle or any damage is there. In case of metal drum, it is for 24 hours. That is called static load. Or even in the corrugated box, we can also keep the empty box forming, and then on the top we will keep the load, and we have to keep for 24 hours. The 24 hours time, that no damage in the boxes or box is not collapsed. That is called the stack load. And rolling basically normally happening in case of that circular type of metal, like metal drum or plastic drum. Sometimes it is damage happening by rolling. So we can check after rolling that whether the damage happening or the closure opening, or there is any leakage in the seam and or in the body seam. Like all these things we have to check. So there are different states that Haji, bolo. Time is over.
Yeah, we
Hari.
have a time limitation. No problem. You continue. We can extend for maybe 5 minutes.
I'll just mention the standard, and you can share this. You can keep this image of the PPTs, the students for the different standards mentioned here. Only 5 minutes I require.
No. It was
So here is the
presentation. Thank you. Yeah. No problem. Continue. We can extend for 5 minutes, Vidhanda.
yeah.
Please.
No issue. Okay, so different, the material-wise, the testing standards I have mentioned here. Like if you want to have a paper-based material, so what are the standards you have to follow? So like ash content. Ash content gives a quality of paper, that how much of impurities are put in the paper. So it basically the ash content you can find out. Ash content is given as per the standard IS 1060. Bending test for paperboard 1060. Bitumen content 1398. So all these different standards mentioned. IS that bursting strength 1060. Caliper 1060. Mostly say any paper or paper-based material we can check according to our Indian standard IS 1060. This testing instrument already I think you have seen. I think it is not required because practical you have done already. The practical session you have seen that instrument. Now in case of corrugated boxes, like what are the tests to be conducted? Like the ply separation, caliper, moisture content, then type of fluid, type of glue. Type of glue basically normally checked with the we used to check with the iodine solution. If the color changes to what is called the brown, then it is a starch adhesive, because starch and iodine react and it's formed starch iodide, and which is basically is a brown color. Okay, so bursting strength, then puncture resistance, then all this what is called the flat crush, edge crush. Flat crush value basically will be checked when the corrugated box is used as a cushioning material, because it is the force required to crush the flutes. And normally the flute height is basically we can correlate with the thickness of the say foam or cushioning material. So if the height of the flute is maximum, the flat crush value will be increases. So flat crush is giving basically is the idea about the cushioning property of the corrugated box. And edge crush value, edge crush is basically when the flutes are vertical. So edge crush we have to find out, because if we want to correlate the compression strength by finding the Mackey's formula before make the boxes from the board itself, we can calculate the compression strength of the box by checking the edge crush resistance. So these are the different parameters according to the standard. The flat crush resistance IS 14006. Flute height. Basically the corrugated boxes, the standard you must remember, that is 2771. I think all the students, you must download 2771 standard from the website. It is available in the Google. That is basically the specification of corrugated box for the Indian continent. How the parameters should be there and what are the tests to be mentioned. That is 2771. And the craft paper is IS 1397. These two standards you should have always, because these give the specification 2771 and 1397. For one for craft paper, another for that corrugated box. These are called specification. There are two standards. One is called testing procedure. These 4006, 1060. These are all testing procedure. How to do the test. But whenever you are working in industry, you should know better than the testing procedure. You should know the specification, that what type of material is giving what result. So to know that, you must have the specification type of standard. Specification standard means 2771. It is the specification. And IS 1397, that is also specification. Specification means if you do the test, what quality you are going to get, by which you can judge whether the material is acceptable or rejectable. So quality parameters are mentioned in this type of standard. That is called specification. So whenever you are want to decide whether the material is okay or not, so you have to use the reference standard which talks about the specification of the material, not the testing procedure. Testing procedure only talks about the test, how to conduct, but you conduct the test and get the value. Now whether this material or the value is acceptable, rejectable, how to judge. So for that we must follow the standard which is called specification. Specification standard is very less, because whenever you see any specification standard, it is also mentioned in the last page of the standard. However, the decision is depending upon the understanding between the supplier and the user. This is the clause in written in the last page of the standard. It is written. However, the decision for acceptance or rejection is depending upon the mutual agreement between the supplier and the user. Got it? So any standard they mention, the rejection and acceptance is depending upon your understanding with the supplier, that is the vendor, and you, what quality you want and what quality you have specified to the industry for supplying the material. So this is a very important, that how to accept or how to reject. So for rejection and acceptance, you must have the standards which is called specification type of standard. Mostly these are the standard what you are saying, 7028 and all these things. These are all procedure of test, how to test. But very few test standards available which talks about the specification. Specification standards are very less. Okay, I think Hori, I'll finish it here. Now they can ask a question and answer session. Okay, see this drop test, what I told, it is according to IS 7028 and ISO 2248. So different standards for different type of testing procedure is.
Good evening, Vedant sir. Thank you so much for this amazing session. This is Prachi Gera from the Delhi Center.
Prachi.
I've been assigned for asking questions from you, and I have a list of them. Though I'm sure I can't. Most of them can't be answered right now because of the time limit. But as I'll ask the most important ones that I encountered. There was this one that said that papers, as you were talking about the papers, and they're being biodegradable. There was this question that said that even the papers are biodegradable, the additives in them are not. So can we actually say that paper is actually completely biodegradable and there's no biomass residuals left? And if the additives are biodegradable, can you enlighten us on them, if some of them are available in the market?
That you are asking about the standards?
Sir, about the biodegradability of paper, depending on the additives that are added to them, actually.
What additives are biodegradable, you are asking, Prachi?
Yes, sir. One part of the question is that.
As of now, I think BIS has not given any list that what are the standards is definitely formulating. These are in the formulation stage. One of the standard they are formulating in the process, that what are the additives used to be used in the that publication is not yet available.
All right. Thank you, sir. So the next question was that since for calculation of BCT, the basic requirement is the value of ECT, and though ECT can be calculated with the help of RCT, but when we are talking in the industry, the specifications are provided in the form of GSM and BF, correct? So how do we link those two values to the RCT value if we do not have the machine available in the industry right now with us? Yes, sir. Is there any link?
RCT value. Normally, say whenever you buy the paper nowadays, papers industry, they are giving the paper are manufactured according to RCT, like the high RCT or low RCT. So paper industry, when you ask the specification, they will specify the RCT. But in case if the paper quality, the fiber is good, like the grade 1 kraft or grade 2 kraft, you can link basically in the case of liner, basically the RCT will be 90% of the 0.9 with the GSM. If you multiply, you can find out the RCT. But nowadays industry will give you the RCT value. Okay, RCT of the paper, because for this calculation you require the ECT, correct?
Yes,
ECT
sir.
will be depending upon the RCT value of the board. Okay, and from the RCT value, if you know the RCT of liner 1, say like if it is 3 ply. In case of 3 ply, you have to add the RCT of say liner 1, RCT of what is called the liner 2, and then RCT of the floating media, correct? But from ECT to RCT, there is a formula also. From is RCT value, you can calculate the ECT value, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But RCT has to be find out from the machine. But if you cannot do the RCT value in Indian context, Indian paper, that formula is not valid. From the GSM, okay, that RCT calculation for the European paper or for the Scandinavian papers, they can be multiplied by a factor. From the GSM, you can multiply with a factor, you can get the RCT. But in our Indian context, that formula is not valid. You must check the RCT separately with the machine. But if you don't have, but normally all the paper mill nowadays, they are specifying the RCT value. Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. The next question was, what testing measures are to be taken amid COVID-19 to ensure safety of the packaging material that is being used, as there are high chances of contamination transmission through packaging?
Correct. But I think as of now, no standardized packaging yet to be decided that which are the parameters to be tested to avoid the COVID-19. Correct. Whether the COVID-19 can permeate, like say with the WVTR or OTR, to the permeability, I don't know. I am not very sure. But still, Hari, I think still, the
Nanda,
जी.
yes, sir. अच्छा मैं like
COVID-19 के लिए कुछ टेस्ट हम लोग डिस्कशन कर रहा था, कुछ हुआ है अभी? रांची का क्वेश्चन है, whether the COVID-19, whether the packaging is safe from COVID-19 or not. What test has to be done?
no idea, Vidhanda.
Yes, Rachi, we are also working. That day also I was discussing with director.
I'll just add to the answer.
Yeah.
Yes, please, sir. Please.
Yeah, because yesterday we had a webinar. So what we need to ensure in terms of this COVID-19 to ensure that the packaging materials, whatever we are procuring from the external vendors, is that you have to send a proper questionnaire to other pointers to your vendors about to maintain a proper hygienic condition in their plant. Most of the top vendors in India, they have the audit approvals in place like BRC, ISO, and so on and so forth, as well as the request in terms of the maintaining the social distancing, as well as ensuring the spraying, as well as the sanitizations of the workers at their premises, as well as when they are dispatching the packaging materials to the brand owners or the clients, they should insist on the complete full truckloads dispatches, and before dispatching or the loading of the trucks, the truck hygiene checks has to be happen in terms of there should not be any foreign contamination. The disinfection, sanitization of the trucks has to be happen. Then if it's a primary packaging material, then the stretch films or the LDP films which is being used for wrapping, it has to be possible to be sanitized, and then it has to be wrapped, then it has to be packed into the tertiary packing, and basically the mixed load should be avoided, and full truckload should go. And on the receipt of these materials at the brand owner's factory, then again the screening has to happen in terms of the spraying, the sanitization, like isopropyl alcohols and all. And then again, the brand owner should follow the norms set by the government, like maintaining social distancing, as well as wearing personal protective equipments on the shop floors. So, and all these companies also have the certifications, and they are following good manufacturing and good hygiene practices. So I think by doing this, it will be ensured that there is no contamination is going into the food.
Okay.
Basically, hygiene issue, no? Hygiene issue. Basically, it is a hygiene problem.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amit, sir. Thank you very much for a detailed answer. Yeah. Oh, yes, sir. So on behalf of everyone, I would like to thank Vidhan, sir. So he has done extremely high justice to the topic, not only with respect to the testing, starting from what is the importance of the testing and what IIP does, and to add, IIP Indian Institute of Packaging conducts somewhere around 320 packaging tests today, and So to hear from a packaging and education veteran like him, so I think the students will be motivated to go through those tests. And definitely, Vidhan sir, we are very thankful to you. And I also thank Hari sir, Saukar sir, Ajay, and all alumni and all students for being here. Our feedback form has already been circulated to all the students. And Vidhan sir, I will also send the feedback form to you. Please do take out the time and fill up so that we can improve the deliverables in the future webinars. Thank you very much.